Welcome to Sit Down and Cheer, episode number 62. Now proudly powered by our new friends. They're really our old friends, Buffalo Wild Wings.
We have friends.
It just got real for Wiggs and I. Listeners may not know this, but we are lifelong fans of Buffalo Wild Wings.
They know that.
You don't build bodies like this without being close to Buffalo Wild Wings. Check out these daily specials. Monday, 2-for-1 burgers. Tuesday, half-price traditional wings. Wednesday, $13.99 unlimited traditional wings and fries. Shout out DeVillers. Thursday, 70-cent boneless wings. Sunday, $1.99 kids meals and 50% off one food item with your college ID. That's from 9 p.m. to midnight on Sundays. Happy hour specials every day, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6, and every day, 9 p.m. to midnight. $3 tall domestic draft beers and mixed drinks. $4 and $5 tall craft and import draft beers, and $3 shareables, street tacos, Southwest loaded chips, fried pickles, chili con queso dip, familiar with that, mozzarella sticks, roasted garlic mushrooms, all of that and more at Buffalo Wild Wings. Now, let's get to the pod. This week's guest, Drake Caggiula. How's your dad? How's Sal?
He's doing well. Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight and watching his food and going on long walks and runs and bike rides and all that, so he's doing really well.
And for those who don't know, your dad had a health issue. So before the Frozen Four, before regionals?
Right before the Frozen Four, like we left on the Tuesday and he had his issue, I think on the Sunday or the Saturday or something like that. So. And
I swear for 4 years he was at every road trip.
Basically,
and to not see him in Tampa, how did you deal with that?
It was pretty difficult, especially because I was debating on flying home to make sure he was okay, and then having to fly to the Frozen Four and trying to figure all that out. But once he got released from the hospital, it was it was kind of a big relief for the family, and I was able to just focus on hockey and talk to him every single day, FaceTimed him, and obviously he sent his best wishes to me and stuff. But he was very supportive, and I'm glad he's doing well.
Well, I'm sure we'll get into Tampa a little bit later, but what brings you to town? How long are you here, and it just happens to be the first week of school?
I came back here the first week of school last year. It's always a fun time. I got camp coming up starting the 15th of September, and I just kind of wanted to...
It's your last hurrah, basically.
Yeah, have some fun before I left, and then at the same time come in, have competitive skates with some of the guys here, and there's a couple of other alumni that are coming back into town as well. So
we need more guests.
Together.
Who else is coming back?
I know the Schmaltz. Well, Jordan Schmaltz for sure is coming back. Zano's coming back. Gage and Tomer and Luke are going to be back. And there might be a couple others. I know Chyzyk's going to law school here, so he's always around.
How about that?
Yeah.
And Colton Sanderson was here last weekend, but I'm not sure if he'll be back this coming one either.
Would any of you actually ever employ Chiz's services if you're in legal trouble?
Honestly, from a law perspective, no. But from the way he argues, absolutely yes.
That's half the battle.
He doesn't lose an argument whether he's...
So maybe just put him in charge
wrong.
of closing arguments?
Yeah, because even if he's 100% wrong, he's going to argue until you just say, you know what, screw it, I'm done, you win.
So then what's your schedule ahead? When do you head back to Edmonton, and what's in store for you?
I'm taking off Monday morning, and I'll be in Edmonton hanging out there for a couple weeks until camp starts. We got there's like a pro 3-on-3 tournament that goes on in Edmonton, and there's a bunch of guys that are all from the area that are participating in the tournament, and then everyone will take off for their respective camps and getting ready for the start of the season.
You're a veteran now, NHL veteran. Yeah. You're not NHL rookie Drake Caggiula anymore.
I guess you would consider me a veteran, but maybe not in the locker room with some of the other guys that have been around for a long time.
How was the rookie year? What was the transition like?
It was good. It had my ups and downs. There's a lot of different things I had to learn, whether it was on ice or off ice, just trying to keep up with the travel or taking care of your body or learning the new systems and all that sort of stuff. But there's a lot of things I did really well. There's a lot of things I got to work on, but I think I had a really good summer, and I ended the season on a high note, and hopefully I can carry that into the next season.
They threw you in the middle too once you came back from injury, and you hadn't really played center a lot here. How hard is that transition at the NHL level?
Yeah, that was pretty difficult. We actually talked about that towards the end of the season with the coaching staff, just about where do I feel most comfortable playing, and I honestly told him that playing wing is my natural position now.
On the wing with 97.
Yeah, I wish. Well, I got to play a few games with him there, and we did actually really well together.
Yeah.
And hopefully get some more looks together. Went to high school with him, so we already have a familiarity with each other, and we had a good time playing together. But playing center was a whole new thing, and especially playing at the highest level that you could possibly play. Stepping into a new position was pretty difficult, but I had my ups and downs playing that position, but I think once I got put back to my natural position on the wing, I started to play a lot more like myself.
Can you put into words, can you explain or put into perspective the grind of an NHL playoff series? 2 NHL playoff series. You told me you once your season ended, you just shut down for 3 weeks. What does your body and your mind go through?
When you're actually playing, you don't really think too much. You just go out and play, and whatever injuries you have, it kind of just gets wrapped up with the adrenaline, and you don't really think about it. But once the playoffs were completely finished for us, it was you almost feel like your body's just collapsing, and you just need a break. And I took 3 weeks off completely, anything from the game. I didn't watch hockey. I didn't really pay attention to the playoffs, and didn't work out, didn't skate. I just kind of hung out, watched some golf, played some golf, and hung out with some friends from back home, and just kind of let my body and my mind kind of rejuvenate, and start preparing for the next season.
I'm usually exhausted at the end of the playoffs watching.
You're right.
And I don't want to watch, once my team's out, I don't want to watch the end of it either. So I was curious to hear that you didn't watch any of the games after you guys were done. Huh?
I probably watched after probably 5, maybe 6 games, and they're probably all the Stanley Cup Finals. It was tough to watch Anaheim play the next round. Even after we had a good opportunity that could have been us, and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot there in game. I think it was game 5. We had a 3-0 lead, and they scored 3 goals in the last 3 minutes of the game. And if we win that game, we go home. We win game 6. That could have been us in the conference final playing Nashville, and you never know what could happen. But things happen for a reason, and we got a young team, and hopefully we come back stronger because of that.
As a rookie, is the mental side of the playoffs almost tougher to deal with? Because you mentioned the Anaheim series. In a best-of-7, it's such a roller coaster. That's like a whole season in a 7-game series. That series in particular, where so many crazy things happen, and you have to reset yourself the next night or 2 nights later. How do you deal with the mental approach?
Well, the momentum can change within a couple shifts,
right? Which
is crazy, because you gotta learn how to handle the highs and lows. And I think it was game 4 at home. We were down 3-0, and then it was 3-3, and then it was 4-3, then it was 4-4, and it's just there's an emotional roller coaster within one game itself.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and then let alone for a complete series. So you just gotta kind of stay even keel. Can't get too high, can't get too low. If you win a game, you lose a game, you just gotta stay even keel and approach the next shift or the next game the same way as any other.
Were there some veterans in the locker room that really took you under the wing and helped you with that kind of stuff?
Well, Lucic was a big one. Zach Cassian was a big one. Those guys were very good to me all season long, right from the get-go. They were really good with me, and
the big
trying
boys
to help,
watching out for you. That's
trying
good.
to help me out, and being a smaller guy, it's not too bad to have those guys on your side, and but even guys like Draisaitl and McDavid, they kind of just help you along the way, and give you that confidence boost you need to get through some of the tough times during the year.
What's the expectation now next year for you guys?
We gotta follow up on last year. It's you can't just make the playoffs one year and then think that's good enough. You gotta, within our team, we think we should be there every year, but our city expects us to be there, and we expect ourselves to be there. So I think we have a great team, great young team, and we can make a strong push. And second round was. For some people, they thought it was a surprise, but to us, we knew we could do that, and we expected ourselves to go even further. So, going into this season, we're trying to do the same.
Do you have any idea if you have a defined role yet in year 2? You moved from center to wing. You were in the top 6. You're in the bottom 6. Have they outlined a plan for you this year at all yet?
Honestly, no. I think there's still spots up in the air for grabs, and There's always opportunity to move up and down the lineup, but I think being versatile and being able to play in different situations, different positions, different parts of the lineup, it definitely helps your chances. But I wouldn't say I have a defined role, and hopefully maybe along the way this year I can kind of solidify a spot.
What was it like playing against some of your old UND teammates too, right out of the chute in the NHL?
Yeah, well, my second exhibition game was against Stetcher, and it was a funny game because he had 1 goal, 2 assists, and I had 2 goals, and all the talk was, oh, these UND players, blah, blah, blah. So we both got a lot of attention because of that. But, it's different. Playing against Stetcher, you're going into the corner. You gotta finish a check on a guy that I played 3 years with here and won a national championship with here. And
are you chirping him at the same time while you're on the ice?
Like you're kind of yelling in his ear, like, I'm
get
gonna
out of there,
you.
Stetchy, let's go.
Yeah, like I'm gonna get you, or heads up, because I don't want to kill him. But if it was playoffs, you never know, right? But no, then you got Nick Schmaltz in Chicago, who was my line mate, and then Brock Besser signed, and next thing you know, I'm playing Brock like 3 days after he signed, and he was FaceTiming me after the BU game, and he was like, what do I do? And asking me for advice there, and then sure enough, I'm playing against him a week or 2 later. So it's very different playing against those guys, but it's a lot of fun. And oftentimes when guys fly into your city, you go out to dinner with them before the game, and you have some fun with them before.
You and Stetch both were undrafted free agents, and you went through that whole. Basically, you were being recruited all over again as you were coming into college. And most people, I think, would assume that that's a great time in your life. It's easy. All these, everyone's promising you the world. But I imagine that's actually got to be really stressful, making a life decision, telling certain organizations, no, thank you, I'm going to pass. How did that whole process go for you?
Yeah, it
was a long process.
It was a long process. I went to a lot of different cities over the span of, I think it was 17 days. Kind of flew from coast to coast to different teams, and teams are telling you all these things that you want to hear, but it's hard to believe if it's true or not, and you don't know exactly who to believe, and you just kind of got to figure out your whole future based off of that, and you just got to find an organization that you trust. And I felt very comfortable with Edmonton, and obviously that's why I signed there. I saw the potential with the team, and some spots for me to step right into the lineup, and but the decision making was definitely a stressful time, but it was a lot of fun at the same time. You're never going to be in that situation again, and
like the prettiest girl at the dance, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's trying to get at it. So it was. It was a good time. I got to see and meet a lot of different people, see some great cities, and do some pretty cool things along the way. But when it came down to making a decision, it was a pretty difficult decision, especially since Stetcher had already signed to Vancouver. He was trying to get me to go there with him, and Besser being a Vancouver pick, and
you said Dylan Simpson played a role too when you were in Edmonton.
Yeah, I went golfing with him on my trip there, and so he was telling me all about it, and obviously he's got Edmonton Oilers blood running right through him, and we got Schmaltz in Chicago who was calling, and just it was a stressful time, but I was very fortunate to be in that situation, and but if I could do it again, I'd probably just stay home and relax and make the decision from home.
At some point, did you just shut your phone off in the process?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure we did. My agent and I were flying from city to city, and there's people tweeting and Instagram and Facebook and texting, and everyone's trying to find out information. And I can't say I ever turned my phone off, but there was a lot of times where I just left it in my pocket and ignored it. And the only people I would really talk to was my family, and then obviously my agent who was with me on the trips.
So ultimately, what was the one thing or things that sold you on Edmonton and said, that's where I got to be?
The young core is definitely one thing. They got, a lot of young, talented players that are going to be there for a long time. And
they're rich now, too.
Yeah, they are very rich. I asked them if they're going to be buying me dinner. They still said no. Having that young core and that the young core is, the top players that are going to be there for a long time. And that was the one thing. They got a brand new facility, great city in Edmonton with, tons of hockey passion. And then just seeing, opportunity for me to step right in and have a chance to play right away. Not necessarily guaranteed a spot, but there was opportunity for me to fight for a spot. And ultimately I was able to grab one of those spots and, played the year there.
Did you have a rookie moment at any point during the year where you got home from practice or game and just went, what the hell was I doing?
Or a Hodge moment where you walked through wet cement?
We'll talk about that story later. I got to hear that one.
He probably doesn't know that
was
one.
Last
That's
year.
right.
Yeah.
That was last year.
I never heard that one.
Swanee tweeted it. Don't worry about it.
That's too funny. What exactly do you mean by rookie moment?
Well, just, God, what was I thinking today? Or what? Like, just, I'm not ready for this moment. And where you doubt yourself at that level?
There was, actually, I was talking to Coach Bubbs about this the other day. There was there's one off day where we're all just kind of hanging out at Eberle's house. There was probably 5 or 6 of us, and I think it was going through like a 4 or 5 game stretch where I was only playing like 5 or 6 minutes, and I kind of just said to myself, like, if I'm only going to be playing 5-6 minutes, like, why don't I just go play in the American League and A, get my confidence up, B, actually play and all that sort of stuff. And Draisaitl actually grabbed me and was like, no, you're an NHL player. I believe in you. You believe in you. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was kind of, the moment where I, like, yeah, okay, it clicked, and came back from that, and I started to play a lot better and playing with a lot more confidence, and I was able to kind of figure it out from there.
You got life advice from a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Is that weird when you're the rookie and you're like 3-4 years older than these guys?
Yeah.
And they're the veterans?
Yeah, like McDavid is our captain. He's 19 years old, and I'm coming in as a 22-year-old rookie. So it was, it is what it is. Some guys come in at, I think someone played their first NHL game at like 29 this year or something like that. So guys are coming in at different times of age and all that, but it is kind of different when your 19-year-old is leading a group of men, and there's some guys that are 35 with 2-3 kids at home, and they're married and they're established in life and all that, and then there's a 19-year-old who's got more money than he knows what to do with, and he's still trying to figure out all that.
Hodge, were you ready to captain anything at 19? Like, I'm trying to think of
Morgan.
When I was 19. Yeah,
maybe Morgan.
Oh my God.
That'd be about it. So you're back in the Forks now. When you come back to Grand Forks, what's the first thing you want to do?
Red pepper.
Every time, red pepper.
And
What's
Happy
the
Harry's.
go-to?
The go-to, I get 4 cheese tostadas, a half ham grinder, no taco meat, and light hot sauce.
Nice.
Light hot sauce. That's a good order.
Yeah.
That's a solid order. So what do you do when you're here for the week? Obviously, you work out at the rink. I just lay low for the most part, catch up with guys.
Yeah, so I've been sleeping on the couch at Shaw, Rhett, Gardner, Gersich, and Simonson's house. So I've been sleeping on their couch, which is probably not the most hygienic thing because they're
yeah, that's an odd group.
They're a group of Actually, Simo's a pretty clean guy. He's the one that keeps the house clean, but everyone else is kind of messy.
He's the old man.
I've been staying there, and every morning I wake up, I skate with Tucker Poolman and Dane Jackson at 9 a.m. Then I'll work out for about an hour and a half after that, and then grab some lunch and hang out. And then when the guys start skating in the afternoon, I'll go out and skate with them a little bit.
Has Coach Barry had you meet with the freshmen or the young guys, or is that in the works? And if so, what's your message to them, or what would your message be to them?
Yeah, he hasn't asked me to do that. I mean, if he asked me to, I'd be more than happy to. But the biggest thing is that 4 years goes by real quick, and one moment you're living in the dorms, and the next thing you know, you're making a life decision on where you're going to continue your either hockey career or just a normal career out in the working areas. And those 4 years go by real quick, and this is a special program that you never want to take for granted, and you want to show up to the rink every single day and play for that name on your jersey, like on the front, not the back. And you're playing for all those students in the student section that are supporting you, and all the fans that travel around the country. So it's a special program, and make sure you never take advantage of it.
What do you remember most about Tampa?
Oh man, definitely not.
Other than Fergs.
Definitely, I don't remember anything from Fergs. What do I remember most? Probably the end of the game when Bubs put all the seniors out on the ice, and he said, "This is your moment, guys. You've earned this. This is your last career game." And to go on the ice with all my fellow seniors and just enjoy that last 30 seconds of the game with them, and then obviously you're throwing your helmet and gloves in the air, and everyone's piling in on each other. It's that's probably the moment I remember the most, just being able to enjoy that last moment with my class that I came in with, and then obviously the rest of the team joining in. It was a pretty special thing right there.
I've heard some cool stories from both Stetcher and Besser about celebration afterwards. What was some of the moments that stood out to you at Tampa outside of the rink?
Outside of the rink, well, when we went to Fergs and we were standing up on the balcony, and all of a sudden we looked down, there's just a sea of green, probably like maybe 1,500 people just standing below us, and all of a sudden we just lift up the trophy, and it was kind of like the Lion King when they held up Simba in front of it. It was unbelievable. Everyone's screaming and chanting. There's pictures and phones going crazy, and I was fortunate. I kind of snuck out of the VIP area, and I walked down, and I was in the pit down below with all the people, and having drinks, taking pictures, whatever it may have been. It was just seeing the excitement of all the people that flew from all over the country, and just to watch us play. It was a pretty special thing.
I want to hear your answer on this. I've asked other guys this, and they've all given the same answer. But going into that Frozen Four, did you feel the burden of Frozen Four's past and the inability to get over that hump? Did you wear that a little bit? Especially, yes. I guess, especially in the late stages of the Denver game once they came back.
Right.
I would say going into the Frozen Four, like during regionals, like right from the start of the season, we played Bemidji at home. I think in the home and home, we played them on the road, and I think we tied them or we beat them by 1 on the road, and then we came home, and they went up 2-0 real quick, and then we ended up storming back, and we ended up winning like 6-2 or something like that. And I just kind of looked around the locker room after. I was like, this is a pretty special group. Like, we have a young team, but we have a really special group. And then after that, we went on like a 10-game winning streak, and I was like, no, this is our year. Like, super confident. And then headed into regionals, and everyone was talking about Northeastern, how they've won 24 out of their last 25 games or whatever. And then we go in there and we steamrolled them. And then we're playing Michigan, who's got the top scorer in the country.
And you got steamrolled.
And I got steamrolled by the referee.
Official.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, exactly. But no, then we beat Michigan, and that was a great game. Michigan played really well, and it was a good game. But we're going to the Frozen Four, and going into the Frozen Four, there's no doubt in my mind we're gonna win. We're gonna win this thing. And but there was a point when they tied the game up against us, and again when we were playing Denver, they tied it up, and I said, not again. Here we go. And finally the tide had turned, and Nicky Schmaltz scored that goal with a minute left, and it was tough because we had been on the other side of that for a few years, and to be on the right side of that, it was pretty special. And heading into the Quinnipiac game, there was not a chance that we were going to lose that game. I don't care who we were playing against. That was our game. We were so confident we were going to win that, and it was after that Denver game we knew for a fact that we had it in the bag.
I think from the fans' experience, once you guys got through Thursday, we felt good. You got past the semifinal hump.
Yep, I think
Saturday
that was kind of like the curse.
I had all the confidence in the world.
Yeah, that was kind of like the curse. Like once he broke that, it was kind of like the Red Sox when they beat the Yankees and then they went on to the World Series. They won the World Series, and there was no doubt in their mind that the Red Sox were going to win the World Series after that. That was kind of the same situation for us.
You personally, before that game, were you nervous or were you relaxed? Because I know a couple guys have joked that the team was really trying to get at Paul LeDoux, making him more nervous because he was just sweating that game in the locker room before the game, and guys were chirping him. And what side of the ledger were you on?
No, I kind of just approached it as every single game that year. I did my same pregame ritual. I didn't try to do anything out of the ordinary. I just tried to focus on what I normally did, and the only thing different was I FaceTimed my dad that afternoon just to check in on him. But I normally wouldn't have done that, but just because of the circumstances, I talked to him for probably an hour or two, and I tried to just keep it even keel and just do the same thing I always did, and just treat it like any other game.
How much do you think about that season? You ever go back and watch old games or watch some of your goals from that year?
I reminisce about that. I'm still living in the glory days of that. When I come back to Grand Forks and I go to a party or the bar or whatever, and everyone still sit there. Everyone asks me questions about the game, and you kind of get these flashbacks, and you start thinking about it, and it's hard not to because there's so many fond memories just from that year alone, but the 3 prior years to that as well. So there's a lot of memories that I'm taking away from this place, and every time I talk with former teammates or classmates or whatever, it's hard to let that go and move on to the next thing in life, because it was such a great time here, and that's why guys keep coming back as alumni just to stay with the program and kind of give back, and just want to feel like a part of it still. So
it's kind of overlooked now, but prior to that season last year, you woke up one morning to the news that Dave Haxtell was now the Philadelphia Flyers head coach. Brad Berry's your new head coach. Do you remember your emotions that morning, that day, once the news hit you?
It's actually a pretty funny story. I was at my home back in Whitby, and I was sitting on the toilet, to be honest. And my brother yelled in from the other room. He said, "Haxtell's going to Philly," and I just said, "Shut up! Hack's not going anywhere. We know for a fact he's staying with us. He's not leaving. He loves Grand Forks. He loves North Dakota, all that sort of stuff." And 30 seconds later, I get a notification on my phone from TSN, and Dave Haxtell signs with the Philadelphia Flyers, and I just, oh crap, he's gone. And,
Literally.
And I was like, yeah, literally. I was like, now what? And I called my family advisor at the time, and I said, like, what do I do? Do I stay? Do I sign now?
Yep.
Like, who's going to come in? How do I know? Like, what if it's someone that I don't know, and how do I trust this guy? And maybe I have, like, if a new coach comes in from outside, I got to earn everything back that I just gained over 3 years. And so I was debating on leaving, and he said, hold on a second, like, I think you're going to be just fine. And sure enough, Coach Bubs called me about 10 minutes after that and said, just wanted to let you know, like, I'm going to be the coach, and if you still want to leave, you can leave. And I said, absolutely not. Like, I have full faith in you, and to have Bubs step in and coach, it meant the world to all of us, and we were happy that they grabbed somebody from within.
What did he do differently? And I'm not saying what did he do better, what did he do worse, but what did he do differently with the program compared to your previous 3 years?
Honestly, not much. Like, Bubs and Hack have a little bit different personalities. Hack's a little more stern, and he's got that look in his eye that if you make him angry, you don't want to cross his path for maybe a week or two. But and then
were you ever on the wrong side of that?
Oh, I've been on the wrong side of that before. Yeah, in my freshman year, you know all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know all about it.
Life happens.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he's got that stern look, and but then there's Bubs, his goal every day is to make sure he talks to 10 players and see what was going on, whether it was school or family and personal issues. He just wants to be very communicative with all the players, and I wouldn't say the systems were the same. Everything was the same in that regard. The tradition of the program, all that was the exact same. Nothing really changed there. But the only small difference I would say is that he gave some players a little more leeway offensively to just be creative, and as long as we were committed to playing defense, if we turned the puck over, he'd give us all the leeway in the world offensively to do whatever we wanted, and I would say that's the only difference that the two had.
It seemed like your line in particular returned that favor. You obviously had that leeway, but your line was really good defensively. Even a guy like Nick Schmaltz, who didn't have that reputation, had his best defensive year. Yeah, for sure. That was a knock on him going into the NHL draft, and after his freshman year, everyone knew how talented he was, and but defensively, I don't know if he was fully committed, and but then we took that challenge upon ourselves, and he said, Coach Bubs grabbed us and said, if you guys are going to do it, everyone's going to do it. And then he said, the more you play defense and the better you play defense, the more offense you're going to get. And so that's why we took so much pride in playing defense and stripping pucks and blocking shots and doing all the right things defensively, because it led to a lot more offensive chances for us. And, we're all offensive players. We all want to play offense. And so we committed ourselves to playing D. And once we started doing it, everyone else started to follow suit, and it just kind of ran through the whole team. And you could see that's why our shots against per game were so low, and all that sort of stuff. What was your favorite road trip in college? Favorite road trip? Miami was a fun place to go to. Western Michigan's fun because of their student sections, really great, but I'm not sure there's much to do there. But I think it was my freshman year, we went to the Mariucci, and that was the only time I really got to play the Gophers in the regular season, and that was probably one of my favorites, just because of the rivalry and how much how much the tradition of that rivalry sparks all the players. And then our trip to Wisconsin was also fun, because we had stopped playing against them, and it was our first time playing against them again. So we played in Wisconsin and sold out their arena, which is quite a big arena, and we were able to get a sweep there. So I think playing the old WCHA rivals for sure were the best road trips. What players did you hate playing against? And then the second part, which teammates did you hate practicing against? Anyone on Duluth. I don't. That seems to be the common answer.
Guys that he probably is going to see again here.
Yeah. Well, no, like we got rivalries with Minnesota and Denver and all those teams, but I don't think we talk about how big our rivalry with Duluth is, especially the last few years. Yeah, the last few years, I feel like these games have just gotten real rough and tough and mean and dirty and chippy, and things are going on behind the play. And I mean, it's great. It's fun to have that rivalry, but I'd say anyone against Duluth was one of the toughest rivalries for us. And then practicing against probably Panzarella, just because I don't think he understood that we're all on the same team. And you're in the, I remember one time we were doing power play drill and he was on the penalty kill, and I got the puck on the half wall and I tried to walk in to make a play, and he came lunging out at me, so I made a move around him, and I get around him, and next thing you know, he sticks his knee out and takes my knees out, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, well, I don't know. And I was like, well,
he's fighting for a spot.
I'm on your team, man. And he's like, yeah, I wasn't thinking. He just did stuff like that all the time. But he was a great guy. He was fun to be around. And I remember he would block shots like an animal in practice. And you hate that because, one, you don't want to hurt your teammate. But two, it's like, well, like now I got to start blocking shots and all that. But he was a great teammate. He was doing really well.
Which teammate annoyed you the most off the ice?
Off the ice, annoyed me the most.
You can include media relations guys.
Yeah.
No.
Sign with the Oilers. Sign with the Oilers.
It might be. I might have to say Chyzyk, just because we're probably best friends going through college, but at the same time, we'd always bicker back and forth with each other, and we were roommates on the road sometimes, and when you're with someone all the time, and he's the guy that doesn't ever lose an argument, and you just keep going back and forth, and I'm super competitive when it comes to that, and there was times where we'd be arguing about something at dinner time, and then we're going to be going to sleep, and I'd be yelling through my wall at him, still going at it. It was just... So, yeah, the two of us probably got on each other's nerves a little bit like that, just because of our competitive nature and the fact that we both like to argue quite a bit.
Did you ever get pranked really good on the road?
On the road?
Were you ever on the wrong end of a good prank?
No, not on the road. No, not even. I can't even say I ever really got pranked in college. But the women's team used to do stuff like they used to put stuff on our cars and wrap our cars up. So then we used to do stuff to them, and that got pretty bad. And I just heard recently that Olsen's house threw stink bombs into the house that I'm staying at right now. So there's going to be a little retaliation coming back, and I'm only here for a few more days, so I'm going to be part of that for sure.
Senior leader Trevor Olsen.
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I just lost my train of thought. I want to go back to one other part early. You mentioned the Bemidji series early in the championship season. You also lost Cam Johnson in that series, and you don't win a championship. There's always going to be injuries. You need guys to step up. So how much did Matt Harincke mean to that season?
Well, what was his record? 10-1
or something?
11-1. Yeah, 11-1, 11-0-2 or something like that, right? He stepped in, and for a guy that we named as, I guess, our third string goalie, and you can put that in quotations because I guess he was our starter. He showed that he could start, and he kind of took that opportunity and he just ran with it. And that season, technically, if you look at it, that season could have gone backwards real quickly, and he stepped in and showed that he's capable of doing that job. And we wanted to rally for him, and he wanted to rally for us, and it made our team so much stronger. And then, he did such a great job for the 10, 11, 12 games he played, and he didn't just give didn't just give the job back to Cam. Cam had to get healthy and then earn that spot back from Harincke. That's how well he was doing it. It wasn't just giving back to Cam. So that goes to speak just how important Matt Harincke was to our team. And now he's graduating. He's back working as the goalie coach, and that's awesome. You see a guy that did what he did, and now he's still helping out with the program.
What kind of work ethic does a guy like Rink have?
Oh, he's in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
He's an excellent student. It starts there. He's always on the honor roll and winning all these academic awards. And in the hockey world, we don't talk about that much because we want to talk about hockey. But first off, it starts in the classroom. He does such a great job there, and obviously he's got a great job now because of that. and then translate that to the rink is work ethic. He'd stay on or stay on late for practice, go on early. He's in the gym, he's doing extra work, and sometimes even myself, I would just, I'm tired today, I'm just gonna get out of the gym early, maybe skip the last 2 lifts, and I'm tired too, but nope, there he is, he's finishing it, and I'm like, well, if he's going to finish it, then I'm going to go. So
that was going to be my
there.
next question. Guys like Hrinkyu and Panzarella, their lineup spots aren't guaranteed. Yeah, they're busting it every day. What effect does that have on guys like yourself, whose spots are pretty much guaranteed? Does that keep you in check throughout the season?
Absolutely. There's times where I've been scoring every game lately. There's no way I'm getting taken out of the lineup, and so you kind of want to sit back and relax and just you fall into a bit of a lull or a bit of a small routine where I can take it easy for a little bit. Then you see the guys that are pushing for spots, or they know they're not going to be playing, but they're still trying to make us better by pushing. And then if they're doing it, now I got to do it, because if I don't do it, then now I just look like an asshole. So you just gotta make sure you're following suit, and you guys hold each other accountable. It could be your captain of the team, or it could be a guy who might not ever play for 4 years. It's just everyone holds each other accountable, and that's what makes the team so strong. Is the union between all the players.
Speaking of captains, what was it about Gage that got him named captain as a junior? That's a rare thing, especially with this program.
His demeanor in the locker room, the way he carried himself. He's not a super raw guy, but he understands. He understands how to kind of control the locker room and control players, and he knows when to let players have their fun and do their thing, but when the time to be serious is coming around, he's always right there and ready to say, hey boys, like let's sharpen up here. And he also likes to have some fun himself, and that's what you want. You don't want a guy that's just going to be kind of like a drill sergeant. You want a guy that's able to do both. And he had a lot of fun with the guys, but at the same time, he knew when to dial it in and be serious. And he was a great captain for, I guess, 2 years here. And he's probably could have been a captain his sophomore year too if we didn't have Pattyn here. So he's just one of those guys that everyone likes, everyone wants to follow, and he did a great job while he was here.
What do you remember about Steph Pattyn as a captain?
He said the most cliche lines of all time. I think he watched too many sports movies, because he would just say all the right quotes from those. He was just saying all that stuff all the time. But no, he was great. The one thing we always poked fun at him for was someone told us a story about Steve Yzerman. He used to, before games, relax and just do Sudoku puzzles and kind of help his mind stay away from hockey and just relax. And he'd be sitting in the locker room and doing Sudoku, and sure enough, we show up to the rink the next day, and there's General Pattyn sitting there doing a book of Sudoku, and he can't even count to 10. So we're all laughing.
You don't have to count to 10,
that.
just to 9.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, so
when did Schlossman get here?
He just literally sidled up there a couple minutes ago.
That's
sneaking in.
Creepy, man.
Sneaking in.
Get your own quotes.
I imagine with all the ex-teammates, you probably followed pretty closely last year. What was that like, following along and not being there?
It was tough. There were some times where you're watching, you almost wish you could help, and you see games on TV, and you're like, oh, like I remember me being out there, or we were line mates or whatever, and it's tough to watch, but at the same time, it's fun because you're so invested in the game. It's kind of like Haji when he's watching the Oilers.
Yeah.
You're so invested emotionally that every play makes a big impact on your life, and so you get to watch all the games, and it's a lot of fun. And you talk to the guys after, and they have a big sweep at home, and you're asking, what's going on tonight, and all that sort of stuff. So it's it's fun to be emotionally invested in the team, but sometimes it's tough to watch.
The pressure that comes with playing with this program, it can be good, it can be bad, but the one thing I asked you about differences between your junior year and your senior year, one thing I noticed, your senior year, that team was much more willing to talk publicly about the drought, the championship. That was kind of a taboo thing in previous years, but your group seemed to really embrace that. Was that a means to deal with that pressure and just embrace it and use it?
Yeah, I think...
Was that intentional?
Yeah, I think we tried to use that instead of making it so taboo, like you said, where people, oh, you guys are slumping or drought, I guess would be the right word. So you guys are in this 16-year drought, and we'd be, oh no, it's not a drought. Like we kind of just push it away and sweep it under the rug and didn't want to talk about it. And then our last year, like, yeah, we've been in a drought, and this year we're going to try and break that drought. And like we talked about it openly, and because it is on our minds, and it's nice to get it out and have people to talk to about it, and instead of just burying it underneath the rug. And it's kind of, when you have feelings for a girl and you want to tell her about it, you want to tell her about it. You can't just bury it underneath, because then you get nowhere with it. So
life advice.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. So no, we were very open about it. We talked about it, and I think we had a very confident team, and we had guys that had been there to the Frozen Four. I got to go, fortunately, for 3 years. Guys went for 2 years, and we had been there and we'd experienced those things, and I think it was just good to talk about it and just get that out so the young guys could understand what it was like when we were there.
And yet Schlossman still picked against you in the national tournament.
Yeah. Was the coin was right, though, right? The coin was right, Schloss was wrong.
Before we let you go, some fan questions here.
Yep.
This one is from @SalGood40, Doug Iverson. How does REA hold up against NHL arenas?
I would say it's right up there with the top of them. The Edmonton Oilers just built a brand new one, and
tell me, that thing sounded like the Bat Cave when you were explaining it to me. You can get from the parking lot straight to the locker room. Is that right?
There's an elevator that goes straight up, or the stairs go straight. You park right underneath the locker room, and you walk straight into the middle of the locker room. The Ralph, compared to the NHL rinks, it's a little smaller with the seats, but I would say it's right up there with the best of them. It's got so many different things that make the Ralph so great, and the tradition in college hockey is so strong with North Dakota. They got all the history of the pictures and the old players and all that kind of throughout the entire arena, that it kind of makes the rink feel like a museum at the same time as an arena. Yeah. And that's what makes the Ralph such a special building. And some NHL rinks don't really have that. It's just a generic concourse, and there's not too much going on. And I think if you had to put the Ralph in the NHL, I'd say it's 1A, 1B up. It's right up there.
And we've seen that with the different Frozen Fours we've been to. They're like, oh, you get to be in the home locker room. You walk in there, it's all right. Okay. It's not home, but it'll do.
Yeah, and there's some pretty old rinks in the NHL that they could use some renovations, but they also kind of like that tradition of just like the Bruins locker room. It's not very big, but they've had that locker room for a long time. So
this one's from @SuHockey33. What's it like playing with Connor McDavid?
Oh man, it's special. Just watching him in practice do his thing, you just see this guy's so skilled and so fast, and then being able to play on the line with him, there was a couple games where I was in awe of what he was doing. I was kind of on the other side of the ice, not really part of the play, and I was like, oh my God, look at him go. And I'm like, oh wait, I gotta play. So playing with him and just watching him play, I learned a lot from just watching him play, but he's a once in a lifetime talent, and just being able to be a part of it, it's a pretty special thing.
From @Great Wall of Drayton, what's your favorite stop in the West Edmonton Mall?
Favorite stop? Oh man. Well, I shop a lot at the Kicks store. Went to the gun range, but for the most part, I just kind of walk around and check out the scenery.
This one's from @Blairsy99, an Oilers fan. It's not really a question, more of a statement. I want 40 points out of you.
Okay.
Done?
Sure.
What's my time frame?
For this year, 40 points out of you this year.
Career or?
Well, Drake, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. I know you've got a lot going on this week. You're a really busy man, hanging on the couch and
exactly.
skating and
playing
going to parties
Xbox,
and whatnot.
One last question for you, Drake.
Yeah.
Was it offside?
Oh, which one?
Were you watching that game, the BU game last year?
BU game last year.
Funny story about that. So I'm in Canada.
Everybody's got a story about it. That's what I love about it.
I'm in Canada, and I'm watching it on my laptop because the game was on TSN Go or something. It wasn't on TSN 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever we have. It wasn't on any of the regular channels, so I had to stream it on my laptop. So I'm watching it. Sure enough, the game ends in regulation, and it has to go to overtime. And my feed just says, time frame for this show has ended.
Oh.
And I'm like, wait, what? What? So then I knew the next game was Duluth and Ohio State, and I was like, okay, if I click on that one, maybe it'll continue the stream. And I was like, nope, doesn't continue. It's just this game hasn't started yet. And I'm like, oh my God, so I can't watch this game. So Chyzyk is living in Indiana playing hockey there, and I'm like, oh, he's got the game on ESPN.
Yeah.
So okay, I called Chyzyk and I said, put me on FaceTime and turn the laptop to the TV. So we watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing from FaceTime on his TV, and I watched the goal. We scored the goal, and I was running around screaming, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And he's screaming at me, trying to get my attention, but I can't hear him. And there's no goal, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" So then we watched it, and he was zooming in and showing me videos on the phone and all this sort of stuff. And I want to say yes, it was offside, but there was no way you could prove that it was.
Yeah.
Like you could assume the puck was here, and yeah, the puck's not over, and that guy is over, but you can't see both at the same time. And I feel like it was more of an assumption than it was proven.
Hey, and after that Duck series and Fargo, I'm ready to fire video replay directly into the sun.
Oh my gosh,
let's just be done with it.
The goalie interference and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
we don't need to open those wounds right now.
Yeah. We'll bury those. That one we'll sweep under the rug and bury. Yeah. Those emotions we'll bury.
Here's to a couple more series wins this year. Cadge, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
No
First
problem.
ever Edmonton Oiler on this podcast.
Oh, there you
go. It's a big day.
There we go.
Thanks, Cadge. Before we sign off here, one quick note. It's official. Weekends are now reserved for football. So come watch it at B-Dubs with other fans who are all there for the same reason, to watch sports. In a place packed with roaring fans, a vast menu of food, it's built for fans. It's home for football. It's Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. And I want to thank Jeff Groven and his crew at Buffalo Wild Wings for rolling out the red carpet for us today, our first on-location pod with our new corporate besties, Buffalo Wild Wings. That's it for this week. Let's eat.